Bam, 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 na, 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 na. Daily grind. Do, 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 do. It's a daily grind. Do, 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 do. It's a daily grind. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. That was my poor attempt at a Kendrick Lamar song because I got like 4 updates on my phone last night about NBA news. That was just people at the Kendrick concert. That's where we're at in the off season.
I tell you
NBA
what,
stars at Kendrick concerts.
you could sing every Kendrick Lamar song, and you could tell me it was Beethoven. I just
That,
and
that,
I too got those notifications, and I was just like, "Who cares?"
man,
That was my response.
I thought it was hilarious because quick tangent. While I was
Yeah,
at
please.
Bonnaroo, one of the guys came out with a cardboard cutout of Kendrick and Drake, and he was like, "Who wins the beef?" And he just like did a cheering thing.
Uh-huh.
Kendrick won, and then so he threw the Drake cardboard cutout into the crowd. And when I tell you this crowd ate the Drake cardboard cutout like it was a shark, like going to blood. The heads were, it was ripped to pieces. It was so crazy. I was like, oh, so this crowd hates Drake apparently.
Yeah.
Shout out Wayno. Good to see you this morning, brother. How are you?
Man,
Uncle
I'm
Buck?
great. I take 100% of the responsibility for us starting at 7:47 today because Luke was like, "Hey, brother, you here?" And I was like, I will be." So, yeah, glad to be back with you. It's been a little while. I guess Bonnaroo was a blast, right?
It was good. It was hot and dehydrating, but I saw so many good music, like so many. I'm gonna learn to talk. I saw a lot of good music at like over 50 bands in 4 days, and that was fun.
Yeah, it's hard to even keep track. You always got to have a notebook or something to take notes to remember who you saw and what you thought about them.
Funny you should say that.
Did you really?
Bonnaroo sent these with you. They sent these little notebooks.
Oh wow!
For that reason, I guess.
I missed my calling in life, and I should have been a
music promoter. Yeah. Hey, would you know what? If Monty Williams might have missed his calling because he's out as head coach. Boom. That's called transition.
Landed that one.
That we're not going to really have much Grizz news today, everybody. There's not much Grizz news to be had. It's all draft news. We're going to probably gear up into the draft next week pretty heavy. But in the meantime, Monty Williams has been fired by the Detroit Pistons after 1 season. And he's still due $65 million, I think.
That's an SEC football coach buyout right there.
Dude, like it is absolutely like Wayno's right. The balls to be like, you know what? I'm gonna cut him. Like it's just to be like 65 million. I'm just gonna let go. That's insane. And granted, I don't know how you could have kept him. I'm gonna talk about what I consider the type of coach he was in a little bit later. After the season he had where they were lost 25 in a row at one point. I mean, they were.
Yeah, but that team and Trajan Langdon, he's doing the right thing because when you get to teams like Detroit, like Philadelphia used to be, like those Suns when they were just terrible, it is a culture problem, and you're continually drafting top 5 picks that walk in and play in a team that is expected to lose and actively tries to lose to the point where they don't know how to win. No. And so when you get a guy like Monty Williams, who's been around, my ideal head coach, if I'm in a situation like Detroit is, or like Washington is right now, I mean, just a dumpster fire, Charlotte is go get a guy like Will Hardy, a young guy, energetic, somebody that can really grow with the team. Like, don't go get the established, hard-nosed guy, but that's got finals pedigree that, get new blood in there. I think that's the best way to do it. Do what the Grizzlies did with Taylor Jenkins, if I'm being honest. They follow that same kind of trajectory. And so, I don't blame them. I thought it was foolish to give Monty Williams $70-something million anyways.
That was the I had no problem with the hire initially. I had a huge problem with the money. Like that's so much money, and it's
And he was a fired coach. Like, it's not like they had to offer him get him away from another team. It was just like, he was a free agent. You could have paid him whatever.
Yeah.
And
I just
dumb.
It's impossible to give him a pass after the complete mishandling and miscoaching of the talent that he had on the roster.
Right.
I mean, like you said, they've had top 5 picks in how many of these drafts in a row? Like, they've got Cade Cunningham, they've got Duran, they've got Ivy, they've got hoopers. I still think Cunningham has it. Like he had these guys on it, and it took him half a season to even figure out.
Well,
I feel like that they were even on the roster.
That he really lost, I think, the organizational trust when he refused to play Ivy, Jalen Ivy, Jaden Ivy. That's it. He just refused to play him for that French left-handed point guard that stinks. And to the eventually they were just like, all right,
Killian Hayes.
They did what the Grizzlies front office did one time, and they just had to trade him. All right, you won't quit playing him, we're going to trade him. And they couldn't trade him. Nobody wanted him until they cut him.
Yep.
And so that they could play, so that he would have to play last year's top 5 pick.
Yep.
Silly.
And lo and behold, they started winning once he started playing the best players. It's I don't know if I think it's not that hard. I mean, it's maybe a little. We're gonna find out that there's maybe just a handful of these coaches that I would say actually matter. That actually push come to shove are gonna be like, you're gonna want this guy in your corner. I don't know who Detroit's gonna hire from here. I don't know. I don't know many of the names on the. It just feels like this year's coaching hire carousel didn't have as many names on it as I've accustomed to, or maybe I'm
still got the same guys.
Misinformed. Yeah,
they could go for somebody that keeps been floating around like old Sam Cassell. Those guys. It's always kind of seeming to finish second. Always
Borrego.
being interviewed and Borrego. Of course, he's had a job, but Darvin Ham was interviewed for every job until he got the Lakers job, and so he was always kind of that next guy. Kind of feel like that's Sam Cassell right now. Like, he's going to eventually get a job somewhere. And so, former player, has a lot of respect. He was a really good guard, and you're a guard heavy team with Cunningham and with Jaden Ivey. And so, I don't know, maybe that's Rusty says Nick Nolte, which
I love Nick Nolte.
Yeah. If you listen to the Two Buck Sports Show, he can't remember that the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers is Nick Nurse. He always calls him Nick Nolte. And so
the actor?
Yeah. So, he's an idiot. I don't know. I don't know why anybody listens to our show.
I mean, oddly enough, that's a good segue to this next part of the show. So I think there are 5 distinct types of NBA coaches. You're sitting here, you're trying to, you were just, like you were about to go through a lot of them. Like these archetypes, let's say archetypes, archetypes sound like an idiot, archetypes. And speaking of Nick Nolte, I think that you can, I bring everything back to movies. Wayno, shout out in the comments, Coach Carter. I love movies. Yeah. I think,
or just bring Sam Jackson.
Bring Sam Jackson.
Hire Samuel L.
I think anything is better if you just have Samuel L. in it at your basketball team, your marriage, your work. Right. Just bring Samuel L. into it. It's going to be better. Church, everything. I think that you can split every coach in the NBA up into 5 distinct categories. I'm going to hit you with them. You just let me know if you agree or not. I think the first category are the Vaughns, named after Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn in Jurassic Park 2. Did you remember Vince Vaughn was in Jurassic Park 2?
No.
Exactly. Nobody does. The point of the Vaughns are there's a lot of coaches in this league that nobody even, unproven. They're the coaches where you're like, you have to Google who the coach of the team is.
The coach that just won the Coach of the Year, Martin Agnew.
Yes. See, I had to move him up to another tier after he won Coach of the Year because I felt biased. But that you're exactly right. Like that's the mindset that we're thinking of here with the Vaughns. I have in the Vaughns, I have Darko, which I love Darko, but he's still, Darko, Charles Lee.
Who?
Do you even know who that is? Just got hired. Exactly. Brian Keefe.
Who does he coach?
Wizards.
Oh, after they fired Unsailed?
Yeah. Will Hardy, which I like Will Hardy, but he's still unproven. Hasn't really done much yet.
Yeah, fair.
Willie Green. I like Willie Green, but it's one of those guys where he's like the 7th name you remember when you get to Pelicans. Jordy Fernandez.
New hire.
New guy. Right, new hire. Yeah. And Chauncey Billups.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my first tier. These are the guys that are just like.
Are you going like the bottom tier to the top tier?
So it's not necessarily. Think of it in stages of life.
Oh, okay.
This is the first stage.
Gotcha.
The next tier, and I think which is arguably maybe the biggest tier in the entire league for me, it's the Walkins. Named after Christopher Walken. I'm really bad at the accent. I'm an actor, man. That's how bad I am. The Walkins. This is named after Christopher Walken. I'm thinking the movie Pulp Fiction. You know, Christopher Walken in like every movie he's in, he may not be the best part, but he's going to be one of the things you remember and one of the things you talk about.
He's memorable.
Like he's memorable. He's not going to be the reason you lose most likely.
Right.
So here in the Walkins, I got Mike Brown, Mark Daignault, Billy Donovan, Chris Finch, Taylor Jenkins, Jamal Mosley, Ime Udoka, Joe Maz. Each one of these guys have at least one playoff game.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard for me to tell you what I think about without knowing all the different phases.
Yeah, without knowing the phases.
Yeah. Joe Maz just won a title.
I know.
Does that automatically bump him up?
No. Because he's still weird as hell. He's still my favorite. I don't know if you've seen this, but the like video of someone asking him about black coaches, and then he just says, "I wonder how many of them are Christian," without actually answering the question, and then it's just the longest silence. Yeah. And he looks at the guy like he's going to eat him. Yeah, it's just like, man, you could have helped a guy out. Like, I think that's a really interesting topic of debate, but like, you looked at this dude like you're going to kill him and said that, and no one knew how to react. Like,
you know, I'm just like,
more charisma. He needs to get more charisma before I bump him up.
He does. He's kind of a wet blanket. And I mean, every person is entitled to like set their own narrative. And so if that's not what he wants to be known as, and he would rather be known as the Christian coach, by all means. But it was just kind of like the conversation just ended the way he phrased it. He was just like, when the reporter was just obviously like, yes, but that's not what I wanted to talk about.
That's not what I asked.
I guess this conversation's over.
Exactly. So, and Joe Maz is the only one here that I was really close to bumping up. But the next phase,
Taylor Jenkins belongs in Spoelstra territory. Come at me.
Okay, we're gonna pass over the next phase. Let me explain to you the next phase, and then maybe you'll see why there's so many here. The next phase is called the Lundgrens.
Okay,
named after Dolph Lundgren. Well, this is all Russian dudes. Named after Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV. The baddest of these are the dudes that are gonna make a difference. These are the guys that were built in a lab to beat people that have, if he dies, he dies. Like that's what they tell. That's what they're telling their players. Right. I think this is a relatively small group. I've got Coach Bud.
Okay.
Which some of these, like I've got Coach Bud because he's in, like Coach Bud, Jason Kidd, Ty Lue, Michael Malone, Nick Nurse, Eric Spoelstra.
Oh, you missed one.
Well, hold on. Let me. So the next, let me get to the next one. So this goes hand in hand with the next group, which are called the Fords, named after Harrison Ford in
Star Wars.
No. Named after Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones 5.
Okay.
5. Oh, still a badass, still really good at what he does. Like you want this guy. But there's sometimes when he does things, you're like, come on, man. Like, why? Like, but you're still going to pick him. And this, I've got Rick Carlisle, Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, Doc Rivers, Quinn Snyder, and Tom Thibodeau.
See, I would put Tom Thibodeau in the Dolph Lundgren because he doesn't mind to kill somebody while playing him.
He was the he was the one that I had him on either side. I was like, Tom, I don't know. He's dangerously close to being a Ford, but he might be in Lundgren territory. He's like really close to falling off.
Yeah, and also Lundgren was amazing, but never could win a title. So maybe that's also. Of course, very few people win titles nowadays, but you know, it may be another Tom Thibodeau fact. I mean, always regular season good, always first round of the playoffs good.
Yes, like always really, really good.
And it kills everybody.
But you're gonna have They're gonna have questionable stuff. Like Rick Carlisle, good coach. Steve Kerr, good coach. Popovich, maybe one of the best, but
when he's also as old as Harrison.
Yes. Yes. Doc Rivers, Quinn Snyder, like good coaches, but you're going to be like, they might just skip a beat occasionally. Right. And then this brings us to the last group, the Kaisers, named after Terry Kaiser, who played Bernie in Weekend at Bernie. I don't know much else. He's a corpse. He's a walking corpse. Like dead man walking. Like just nothing. If you're a Kaiser, see you later. This JB Bickerstaff, God love him. I love JB Bickerstaff. I had him in a higher category until he got fired, and then I was like, well, gotta move him. Darvin Ham, Monty Williams.
Yeah, and just
these are dudes,
corpses. Yeah,
corpses. Just whether it's their situation or the job they're doing, they're just dead. They're dead. Nobody likes them. No, shut up, Rusty. Taylor Jenkins is not a walking corpse.
Yeah, he's a hater.
He's hating on him. Yeah, but those are, I think, the 5 distinct types of coaches. We can talk to her blue in the face about NBA coaches. Talk to her blue in the face. Everybody's seen movies. If you say, oh, yeah, he's a Dolph Lundgren, people are going to be like, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or if you say, oh, he's a Vince Vaughn in Jurassic Park 2, they're going to be like, Vince Vaughn was in Jurassic Park 2? And you're going to be like, exactly.
Exactly. Right.
That's my thought. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I spoke up on the ones that I wasn't sure about. But, I think Dolph Lundgren, everybody knows who Dolph Lundgren is. And I can write a book on making comparisons to Rocky IV. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Same.
How many movies can you find a Southpaw from Philadelphia that defeats communism? Like
none. Oh man, we need to have a Rocky IV pod just because I'm with you. I love that movie so much.
Please, yeah, it's great. So I'm with you there. I think that's really neat.
See, well, and it's tough too because every single one of these coaches, except almost every one of these the coaches in 4 of the 5 groups have won a playoff series or won a playoff game. Mm-hmm. Like almost over 2/3 of NBA coaches currently in the league have won a playoff series. Right. They won a playoff game. That's kind of weird.
It's because they just keep hiring the same dudes over and over.
Boom. It's just they churn them and burn them.
Like Stan Van Gundy will have another job before long. I mean, at some point you just know what you're getting. And you don't want to be the first guy to get it wrong. You're like, oh, well, of course, I mean, he may suck now, but I mean, look back at our work we did. Look at his frame of work. He's a good coach, so I'm going to hire him. I'm not going to take a risk and hire a guy that's never been hired before and then fail. Mm-hmm. They don't want to overextend. They don't want to put their own heads on the chopping block. Executives these days don't have that much courage. That's the reason why the people who write the mock drafts at draft time basically pick the players that go in the top 10. Because whoever they think, most people are just going to go with a consensus. That's the reason why I like what Kleiman has done and what some other teams do is like, if they like the guy, they're going to go get him. And I don't care what your draft board says. There's a lot of executives out there who just watch draft boards just to make a popular decision. And that way, if it doesn't pan out, they can point the finger to someone else.
Yeah. A lot of these executives will build a team to not lose. They won't build it to win. Two very different things.
To take this back to Trajan Langdon at Detroit, I think he's starting it off with a bang he's convinced that Monty Williams isn't the guy. I didn't hire him. I didn't agree to pay him this money. And so we're starting over, and we're starting with clearing him off the books.
Yep.
And you've got to have a real conviction about that to make that move. And so have the stones to do it. And he did.
Bingo. We're going to take a break. And when we get back, we're going to play a little game because it's Thursday. And on Thursdays, it's a trap right after this break.
Speaking of getting rid of toxins, Kenny Stubblefield, David Jones.
Oh, wow.
Nah, I mean, depending on who you look at it. He may be a toxin to University of Memphis, or University of Memphis might be a toxin to him. In a very dramatic fashion, David Jones decided he will be taking his talents to the NBA. At around 10:55, man, it started feeling a little bleak. I text you. I said, Kenny, is there any hope?
I mean, he kind of the writing's been on the wall, right? Like, yeah. I mean, he said it to the Daily Memphians, Drew Hill at the combine. If I get
any inclination that I can get,
think at me the right way, I'll stay in the game.
You only have a very short window of time. I think that window is very small. I think you can get caught up in just becoming an amateur basketball player, and you can lose that window of opportunity.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
This has turned into unrealistic expectations for teams. Not every team is ready to win a championship. There are steps you got to take to put yourself in position to win it. And I thought that what they had done in Cleveland had become a team that was muddled in nothing. And JB, I thought they created a little bit of a culture. You were able to find a star player. I think it's tough. I go back to what happened with Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee. I mean, you got the second best record in the NBA, and they say, well, we don't know if you're the one to get us over the top. Yeah, but the guy you bring in is only 5-6 games over 500 from that point on. You would hope that realistic expectations start to come back into the fold, other than these unrealistic things that it's going to happen. Winning a championship happens just like that, because it doesn't that way at all.
Tune in to the Night Court podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. You can catch that show, Night Court. I don't know why I did that for court, not. I don't know. I'm making
you're doing a Hail Mary or something.
That was what I did for court. I don't know why that was instinctual. Ignore me. Night Court. You can catch the $2 Sports Show. It will drop tomorrow. You can catch the Grizz 901 show. They're going to have a live draft show next week. Catch Anthony Sane Show. Catch all of them over at bluffcitymedia.co. But back to my show. On the Daily Grind on Thursdays, we like to play a game named after our dear Admiral Akbar, almost mascot of the Ole Miss or Mississippi State. What was he?
Ole Miss.
Yeah. Ole Miss. The great Admiral Akbar. Now I can do that because he's deceased. We play a game called It's a Trap. For those unfamiliar with the rules, I will have a series of trivia questions. Half of them are, in fact, real. Half of them are fake. You do not have to guess the answers. You just have to guess if they are indeed the real questions or the fake questions. That's it.
All right.
First question. I got to give you the theme. The theme for this episode are NBA head coaches.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing. And I tried to make them kind of, I don't know, easy. I don't know. Let's just see. Let's see. Who holds the record for most NBA championships won as a head coach?
That's a real question, and Red Auerbach.
Nope. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to take points away. Phil Jackson.
Popovich. Yeah. I was thinking close. Most teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close. Which NBA head coach has the longest tenure with a single team?
That's true.
Yep.
Is it Popovich?
Yep. Yeah. Boom. I'll give you bonus points. Which NBA head coach famously banned all dunking during the practices of the 1970s for the Chicago Comets?
I can actually see that being true, but I'm going to say it's a trap because I think the Comets is a fake team.
Here's our trap. That's not a real team. That's I would sounds like a hockey team. Who was the head coach of the Brooklyn Wildcats when they won their first and only NBA championship in 1962? That is a trap. You got it. Which coach introduced the 3-point zone strategy for the Dallas Dynamos in the early 1980s?
Trap.
I think the Dallas Dynamos were like a tag team or something.
Yeah.
Who was the first African American head coach in the NBA?
Well, that's true. That's a real
true.
question.
It's not a trap. I clicked it on accident.
Who is it?
Bill Russell, I think. 66.
Okay.
Who has the highest winning percentage in NBA history with a minimum of 500 games?
That's true.
That's true.
That's a real.
Who was the first coach to implement a mandatory pre-game yoga session in 1995 for the Portland Panthers?
That's a trap.
That's a trap. Portland Panthers. It's the Carolina Panthers, idiot.
Yeah.
Which head coach led the San Francisco Typhoons to 5 consecutive conference finals in the early 90s?
Trap.
Trap. That's a trap. All right.
It just goes to show me how bad NBA team names are. Like these names are better. Like just
the Typhoons. I'd watch the heck out of the Typhoons.
Yeah.
Who is the only NBA coach of the year to win coach of the year? With 3 different teams.
That's probably true.
That is true.
Bill Jackson.
No, close. Pat Riley.
Pat Riley. Okay.
Who was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors during 2015?
They did have a coach in 2015.
Yeah, I just wanted to put like a fact in here and see if you would be like, I don't know. Who was known as the Zen mechanic for his background as a mechanical engineer and his unconventional motivational techniques for the Milwaukee Titans?
Oh, okay, that's a trap. But I was really starting to think, what's the guy's name? The doctor that was the start of the Showtime Lakers, ended up winning the title with Bill Walton. Dr. Jack.
But Westinghouse? No.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Or,
Right.
Something like that.
Something like that.
It's a multiple syllabic name. Which NBA coach once worked as a circus performer before joining the Baltimore Beacons as their head coach?
As a trap.
Trap. I don't think the Baltimore Beacons are real.
Which coach would have been a circus performer is a better question.
Ime. Like he was like a lion tamer and just was, maybe having.
I was thinking of
with like a trapeze artist.
I feel like Joe Mazzulla could be shot out of a cannon.
He's like, yeah, I love it. Do it.
He's the
just
frame.
Just his head. Ah! I would love that. Who coached the Vancouver Vipers to an undefeated home season? That's my Viper.
Again. Great name.
Yeah, great name. Who won them to the undefeated home season?
Nah, that's a trap.
That's a trap. All right, and the last question. Who was the first head coach of the Miami Heat?
Well, that's a real question.
It's a real question. I like to
couldn't tell you.
The game is so much more absurd if it's just like actual tough questions, bizarre questions, and then just facts. It's deeply confusing for the guest, and I appreciate that. That's gonna do it for the show. Thank you for joining me, brother. I really appreciate it.
Sir.
Thank you for watching at home. Thank you for hanging out in the comments, Wayno. Musty, I appreciate you, brother. A lion reversal situation with Tibbs, where Tibbs eats the lion. Oh my God, I would watch that. That's gonna be what I think about all day. Thank you, Wayno. Guys, have a great week. I will be back tomorrow. Remember 2 things today. Remember to be a little weird and remember to smile. Everyone have a good day.